Bonjour, my darling dahlias. Salut, mes petits choux. And welcome to you, my precious petals. Welcome back to another episode of Fl'AwesomeBlossom. It is your favorite late blooming muse, Kiki, wandering once again through the wild and wondrous garden of spiritual growth with a hot cup of coffee and a grateful heart and a mission today. Discernment. And I know that this is a reoccurring theme here at Fl'AwesomeBlossom, and that is because I am sharpening my skills here and I am learning what discernment truly means. Seeing truth when the world is loud. Feeling clarity when the culture spins. And holding steady while the chaos swirls around you like a storm around your roots. And mes amis, this one matters. We live in a time where everything, and I mean everything, is noise. Everyone has an opinion, a platform, a reaction, a hot take, a must believe, a must follow, a must accept. It's like walking through a carnival where every game is rigged and every barker is shouting louder than the last. Discernment is not about judging people. It is about protecting the peace inside your own soul. It is the deep breath that says, I hear all of this noise, but I choose what gets planted in my garden. This brings us to one of my very favorite metaphors of all time. And yeah, buckle up. We're going to go Star Trekking. There is an episode where Captain Jean-Luc Picard has been captured by the Cardassians. Or Kardashians? I think those are interchangeable awful things. Anyway, he's been captured by the Cardassians and tortured, but not just tortured physically. He was tortured by them trying to break his truth. They pointed to 4 bright lights, 4 clear lights, and they tried to force him to say that there are 5. They repeat it over and over. There are 5 lights. There are 5 lights, until his mind begins to crack. But he never gives in. He regulates himself. He stands firm. He refuses to let panic override perception. He keeps his dignity. He holds the line between sensation and truth. He stays obedient to the truth even when pain is screaming at him. Even when he suspects that his mind is starting to crack, he's squinting, just before he's rescued by his fellows. He thought for a moment that he did, in fact, see 5 lights. He started to really doubt his own senses, right? Discernment means this. It means you refuse to hand over your inner compass. You refuse to let culture, chaos, or clever manipulation override what you know in your bones. Do not let anyone separate you from the sacred design of the human body, from the astonishing depth of our human compassion, or from our undeniable need for real flesh and blood connection. These are not outdated relics. These are the roots of humanity. But let's be honest. Sometimes the trickiest manipulators out there aren't out there. They're in here. Ego, fear, wishful thinking, old wounds, insecurity, and impulse. These are master illusionists, magicians who make you doubt the obvious, chase something shiny that was never meant for you, or even abandon your principles to avoid discomfort. Discernment says, mon cœur, doucement. Take it time. Take your time. Take it slowly. Look again. Be still. Feel the truth beneath the noise or desire. There are people who benefit when others become confused. Some thrive in fog, some profit from chaos, and some hold power when everyone else is disorientated, distracted, or divided. And some people really just do want to see the world burn. This isn't about demonizing anyone. It's about staying awake to patterns. Discernment is your shield. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to fear them. You just need to see clearly. Spot the illusion. Recognize the tactics. Stay rooted in authenticity. Clarity is not just a skill. It is a spiritual devotion. Truth is sacred. Integrity is sacred. And honesty, even with yourself and with others, is sacred. Discernment is one of the ways the Grand Gardener tends the soil of your soul. It is protection. It is wisdom. It is grace. It is also courage. Think again of Captain Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek, right? That Next Generation episode. He is coerced. He is isolated. He is physically tortured and psychologically pressured to deny what he knows to be true. There are 5 lights. Over and over and over again, he's told. Not because that there are 5, but because breaking his perception would break his integrity. They were literally saying, who are you going to believe, me or your lion eyes? And he refuses. He regulates himself. He withstands unbelievable amounts of pressure and pain. He holds the line between sensation and truth. Discernment is just that. It is seeing the harmful illusion. It is acknowledging danger and still standing firm in integrity. Because your soul, your spirit, and your well-being of those people around you depend on it. Often the discernment lesson isn't about them at all. It's really about choosing not to abandon yourself in order to be accepted, forgiven, or kept. It is drawing your line in the sand. Your sand. And here's where I get to tell you something astonishing about discernment. It isn't just spiritual. It isn't just poetic, and it isn't just moral courage. It is structural. It is biological. It is built into you. So now let us step into our living temples of our gorgeous human bodies and find out about that. So did you know that discernment is not just spiritual? Did you know it's also neurological? Right behind your forehead and just above your eyes sits the prefrontal cortex of the human brain. This is the most advanced part of your brain. It is your executive center. It governs decision-making, impulse control, moral reasoning, emotional regulation, weighing of consequences, separating fact from fiction. In other words, it is the biological seat of discernment. But here's the part that most people don't even talk about. The prefrontal cortex is the last part of the brain to fully develop. It continues maturing into the mid-20s. In many males, development is often stabilized a little later on in life, somewhere between the 25 to 28-year-old mark. Females tend to show earlier maturation in certain executive functions, though both sexes follow the same general development arc. Translation? Teenagers and young adults are literally still wiring the part of their brain responsible for long-term reasoning and resisting pressure. This is why they target the children. Now, here's where this gets powerful. When you are stressed, when you are overstimulated, and when you are bombarded with constant noise and screens, outrage, fear, or emotional chaos in general, blood flow will shift away from that prefrontal cortex and towards the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, right? This is where we get our fight, flight, freeze, or mating. When that happens, your discernment goes offline. When the amygdala takes over, you become reactive instead of reflective. You become impulsive instead of intentional, and emotional driven instead of principle driven. The prefrontal cortex needs calm. It needs safety. It needs sleep. It needs low, steady stimulation, not constant digital chaos. It needs real human connection, not fragmented attention. It thrives in environments where the truth is consistent and where the nervous system feels secure. So here are two things that connect this directly to discernment. First, discernment requires delayed gratification. The prefrontal cortex is what allows you to pause, to breathe, and to say, okay, let me think about this before I respond. Now, second, discernment requires moral evaluation. This is the part of your brain that actually weighs the consequences, not just for you, but for others. And it allows empathy and principle to override impulse. When this region is underdeveloped, overwhelmed, or constantly hijacked by stress, clarity suffers. And when clarity suffers, manipulation becomes a whole lot easier. So when I say that discernment is sacred, I mean it neurologically, biologically, and spiritually. You were designed with a structure in your brain specifically for evaluating reality. You are wired for clarity. You are built from truth and for truth. Protect it, strengthen it, give it that stillness it deserves. Because calm, grounded prefrontal cortex is one of the greatest defenses against confusion, internal or external. And, my darling dahlias, it is science blooming into wisdom. Speaking of blooming, let us step outside and into the garden and see what is our comparison in bloom. So today we're going to meet a bloom with layers, a flower that whispers peace while warning, pay attention. The Hellebore. At first glance, this breathtaking, soft-petaled, winter-colored flower is gentle elegance. I especially love the ones that look like they have contrasting color along the edges of their petals. I find them really beautifully layered in color and in texture. The Hellebore is a symbol of serenity, hope, and resilience. Thriving in cold and pushing through darkness to announce that spring will come. That's grace. But mes chéris, it carries a second meaning. It's poisonous. All of it. Every part of the plant. And not dramatic fairy tale apple kind of poison. It is subtle. It's sneaky. This plant looks very harmless until you take it in and it hurts you. Its name in Greek literally means to harm. It was used in the first sacred war at the start of the 6th century BC to poison the water supply of the city of Kira. Yeah, soldiers from the attacking army dropped Hellebore flowers into the drinking wells and the aqueducts of their enemy, giving the enemy who ingested that water the runs, which then led the attacking army to run right through the city and take it over. It is the first ever documentation of chemical warfare. True story, look it up. So a reminder, not everything lovely is safe. Not every glow is holy. And not every warm voice speaks the truth. That's discernment. Historically, Hellebores were also used in protection and cleansing rituals to ward off evil. They remind the gardener, do not be fooled by the show. Know what you are bringing in to your garden. Know what you're letting into your heart. Let us offer up a prayer for discernment. Okay, we're going to sit down into our garden of grace and we're going to ask the divine gardener for some guidance here. Divine gardener, guide my eyes to see the truth, my heart to recognize peace, and my spirit to stand firm amidst temptation. Teach me to welcome what nourishes, to reject what harms in disguise. Grant me the courage to protect my garden, wisdom to honor what is pure, and serenity to bloom beautifully, even in winter's shadow. Amen. My darling dahlias, my precious petals, if you are walking through a season of confusion, chaos, or a culture pulling you in 1,000 different directions, breathe. Hold on to your truth. Like Captain Picard, stand tall even when the pressure rises. Trust your eyes, your perception, your inner compass, even when it is painful, even when doubt creeps in, and even when faced with radical social pressures. There are 4 lights. Be alert to what nourishes you versus what harms you. And remember, discernment is an active, ongoing practice. It is not about blindly trusting yourself, but also having the wisdom and the softness and the courage to change your mind when new evidence or truth presents itself. You are 100% allowed to reject any ideology based on actual evidence, like the laws of biology or physics or nature itself. Discernment is your sacred garden. Protect it, nurture it, let it guide your every choice, your every action, and every word. The world may swirl around and the noise may roar, but your rooted clarity, your steadfast heart, and your human wisdom are stronger than any chaos. Bloom where you are planted and let your truth shine. If today's episode has planted something in your heart, come bloom with me. Come join our garden at Fl'AwesomeBlossom.com. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and share this episode with someone who needs clarity today. Your presence in this garden matters. Your light matters. Your truth matters. My darling dahlias, my precious petals, et mes petits choux, please remember, live your life in full-on Fl'Awesome Blossom. I'll see you next time.